Everyone wants money. Everyone dreams of freedom, comfort, and security. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. Wanting money is not the same as being ready for it. If wanting were enough, everyone would be rich. If wishing worked, struggle would disappear. So why do some people attract opportunities while others stay stuck no matter how hard they hope? Why does money seem to flow towards some and avoid others entirely? Stay with me until the end, because once you understand this difference, your mindset around money will never be the same again. 1. Wanting money is emotional. The desire for wealth is rarely a calculated, logical pursuit. Instead, it is a visceral reaction to the circumstances of one's life. When we say we want money, we are often expressing a deep-seated frustration with the limitations of our current reality. This emotional drive is born from the friction between where we are and where we believe we should be. It is the sting of a bank balance that doesn't cover an emergency, the exhaustion of a grueling commute, and the silent weight of unpaid bills. These feelings are valid, but they are reactive. Emotion is a powerful fuel, but it is a poor navigator. When you want money out of desperation, your vision narrows, focusing only on the immediate relief of the pain rather than the long-term architecture of a stable financial life. This desperation creates a scarcity mindset that actually repels the very thing it seeks. Comparison is the second great emotional engine of desire. In a world saturated with the curated highlights of others' lives, it is easy to feel that you are falling behind. We want money because we see others enjoying the fruits of it, and we interpret our lack of it as a personal failure or a social disadvantage. This is the keep up with the Joneses trap, where the want isn't for the money itself, but for the status, the validation, and the perceived belonging that it buys. This emotional craving for significance makes us vulnerable. It leads us to spend money we don't have on things we don't need to impress people we don't even like. When the motive is to prove our worth to the world, the money becomes a tool for vanity rather than a foundation for freedom, ensuring that even if we get it, it will slip through our fingers as we chase the next trend. Fear is perhaps the most paralyzing emotion attached to money. Many people do not want wealth as much as they want an end to fear. The fear of lack, the fear of the unknown, and the fear of being helpless in a crisis. This fear creates a frantic energy. It makes people grasp at opportunities with sweaty palms and a racing heart. However, decisions made in a state of fear are almost always short-sighted. Fear prioritizes the now at the expense of the future. It makes you susceptible to high-risk gambles and get-rich-quick schemes because your emotional brain tells you that you can't afford to wait. The paradox is that the more afraid you are of not having money, the more likely you are to make the impulsive, high-stakes mistakes that ensure you stay in a state of lack. Ultimately, wanting money is a passive state of existence. It is a wish, a hope, and a longing that requires no change in character. Anyone can want. In fact, almost everyone does. But wanting doesn't bridge the gap between poverty and prosperity. When you are stuck in the wanting phase, you are a chaser. You chase the next trend, the next tip, and the next shortcut. Chasing is an admission that the object of your desire is running away from you. The harder you chase, the more you signal to yourself and the world that you are not currently a person who possesses value. To move beyond the emotional whirlpool of wanting, one must realize that money is not a prize to be hunted down, but a shadow that follows the substance of readiness. Until the emotional want is replaced by a mental readiness, the cycle of frustration will continue indefinitely. 2. Being ready for money is mental. Transitioning from wanting money to being ready for it requires a profound psychological shift. It is the difference between an amateur and a professional. While the amateur is focused on the get, the professional is focused on the become. Being ready for money means that you have already cultivated the internal environment necessary to sustain external wealth. This begins with an understanding of the nature of value. Money is simply a medium of exchange for value rendered. Therefore, a person who is mentally ready for wealth stops looking at their bank account and starts looking at their contribution. They realize that the marketplace does not pay for your needs, your feelings, or your time. It pays for your utility. This realization strips away the sense of entitlement and replaces it with a cold, clear focus on how one can be of service to the world. The mentally ready individual has replaced motivation with discipline. Motivation is an emotional state, often tied to the wanting we discussed in the previous section. It is fleeting and unreliable. Discipline, however, is a mental construct. It is the ability to do what is required regardless of how you feel. When you are ready for money, you don't wait for a burst of inspiration to work on your business or study the markets. You operate on systems and habits. You understand that the bridge between a dream and a reality is built with the bricks of daily, mundane consistency. This mental toughness allows you to withstand the boring middle, that long period where you are putting in the work, but the financial rewards have not yet materialized. Readiness is the quiet confidence that if the input is correct, the output is inevitable. Another hallmark of the ready mind is the mastery of long-term thinking. In a culture of instant gratification, the ability to delay pleasure is a superpower. Those who are mentally ready for money look at a dollar and see a seed, not a snack. They understand the mathematics of compounding, not just in finance, but in knowledge and relationships. They are willing to sacrifice the comforts of today for the autonomy of tomorrow. This requires a high level of cognitive control. You must be able to override the primitive brain's urge to consume everything in sight. By thinking in decades rather than days, you align yourself with the natural laws of growth. You become a person who can be trusted with large sums because you have proven to yourself that you are not a slave to your immediate impulses. Finally, readiness is about the questions you ask. The person who wants money asks, "How can I get rich?" This question is self-centered and narrow, leading to a dead end. The person who is ready for money asks, "What problem can I solve that the world is willing to pay for?" Or, "How can I become so good they can't ignore me?" These questions are expansive and outward-facing. They move the focus from the result, money, to the process, problem solving. When your mind is focused on solving problems and creating value, money ceases to be a goal and becomes a byproduct. You stop being a seeker of wealth and become a magnet for it. You don't have to chase money when you are the person who holds the solution that money is looking for. This mental alignment is the invisible foundation upon which all great fortunes are built. 3. Responsibility separates desire from readiness. The most distinct line between those who wish for wealth and those who achieve it is the line of personal responsibility. It is a common human tendency to look outward when things go wrong. We blame the shifting economy, the tax laws, our upbringing, or a rigged system. While external factors certainly exist, the person who is ready for money treats them as weather, uncontrollable but manageable. They understand that while they cannot control the wind, they can always adjust their sails. Radical responsibility means accepting that your current financial state is a reflection of your past decisions, your current habits, and your level of skill. This is not about self-blame, which is emotional. It is about self-ownership, which is functional. Once you take 100% responsibility for your life, you gain 100% of the power to change it. A core tenet of this responsibility is the management of current resources. There is a dangerous myth that more money will fix financial problems. In reality, more money usually only accelerates the habits you already have. If you are disorganized with $10, you will be a disaster with 10 million. Being ready for money means demonstrating stewardship over the little you currently possess. It means budgeting, tracking expenses, and living below your means even when you feel you deserve more. This is the proving ground. If you cannot manage a small household budget, the universe, or the marketplace, is unlikely to hand you a corporate budget or a massive investment portfolio. Responsibility is the practice of being a good custodian of your current reality so that you are prepared for a larger one. Furthermore, responsibility extends to the development of character. Money is an amplifier. It doesn't change who you are, it just makes you more of who you already are. If a person is insecure, money makes them a bully. If a person is generous, money makes them a philanthropist. If a person is undisciplined, money makes them an addict. Readiness involves the inner work of refining one's character before the money arrives. This means developing integrity, honesty, and a work ethic that doesn't depend on a supervisor. People who are ready for money have built a character strong enough to carry the weight of wealth. They know that without a solid moral and ethical framework, the sudden influx of money can be more destructive than helpful, leading to a collapse of the very life they worked so hard to build. Finally, responsibility means becoming a lifelong student of the game. You cannot be ready for money if you refuse to understand how it works. This involves taking responsibility for your own financial education. You don't wait for a mentor to find you. You seek out the books, the courses, and the people who have done what you want to do. You take responsibility for understanding taxes, interest rates, and investment vehicles. Most people want the fruit of the tree without learning how to tend the soil. But the person who is ready for money knows that the luck people talk about is usually just the intersection of preparation and opportunity. By taking responsibility for your preparation, you ensure that when the opportunity inevitably arrives, you won't just see it. You'll be capable of seizing it and keeping it. 4. Skills invite money, not wishes. We live in a world that often romanticizes the dream. We are told to visualize, to affirm, and to hope for our breakthroughs. While a positive outlook is helpful, it is ultimately a hollow pursuit if it isn't backed by tangible, marketable skills. Money is a cold judge. It doesn't care about your intentions or how hard you are wishing for a better life. It only cares about the value you can provide in the present moment. Skills are the actual currency of the marketplace. If you want to move from wanting to having, you must move from wishing to building. A skill is a repeatable, leverageable ability that solves a problem for someone else. Whether it is coding, copywriting, surgery, or plumbing, skills are the pipes through which the water of wealth flows. Without the pipes, the water simply disappears into the ground. The hierarchy of skills determines the hierarchy of income. Not all skills are created equal in the eyes of the market. High-income skills, such as leadership, high-level sales, complex problem-solving, and technical expertise, are in high demand and low supply. If you find yourself wanting money but not receiving it, it is likely because your current skill set is either common or low impact. Readiness involves the honest, sometimes painful assessment of your own utility. You must ask, what do I know how to do that others would pay dearly for? If the answer is nothing, then your primary job isn't to find money but to find a skill. The time spent wishing for a windfall is better spent mastering a craft. When you become a master of a valuable skill, you no longer have to beg for opportunities. They begin to seek you out. Developing skills requires a shift from being a consumer to being a producer. Most people spend their lives consuming the skills of others, watching movies, eating at restaurants, using apps. The person ready for money is the one who learns how the movie is made, how the restaurant is managed, or how the app is coded. This transition requires an intense period of apprenticeship. It means being willing to be bad at something for a long time so that you can eventually be great at it. This is where most people quit. Their emotional want for the money is stronger than their mental readiness for the work. But the marketplace is a meritocracy over the long run. It rewards the person who put in the 10,000 hours of deliberate practice, not the person who spent 10,000 hours dreaming about the result. Moreover, skills provide a form of security that no bank account can match. If you have $1 million but no skills, you are one bad investment or one lawsuit away from ruin. But if you have the skills to generate $1 million, you are never truly poor, even if your bank balance hits zero. You carry your wealth between your ears. This is why the truly ready never stop learning. They understand that the world is changing rapidly, and the skills that made them successful yesterday may not be the ones that keep them successful tomorrow. They treat their education as an ongoing investment. By constantly refining their communication, their technical abilities, and their understanding of human psychology, they ensure that they remain indispensable. Money follows the person who has made themselves too valuable to be ignored. 5. Patience is the final test of readiness. Patience is often misunderstood as a passive waiting, a sort of sitting around until something happens. In the context of financial readiness, however, patience is an active, aggressive discipline. It is the ability to maintain your effort and your standards, even when there is no immediate evidence of success. Most people fail at the threshold of wealth because they lack the stomach for the delay. They want the microwave version of success, but wealth is a slow cooker process. This final test of patience is what separates the mature from the immature. It is the understanding that there is a natural season for sowing and a natural season for reaping, and you cannot have the latter without the former. If you try to force the harvest, you end up destroying the crop. The boring phase of wealth building is where the real work happens. This is the period after you've set the goals, after you've started the habits, and after the initial excitement has worn off. It is the mundane Tuesday morning when you have to stick to the plan even though you haven't seen a profit in months. Patience allows you to keep your head down and focus on the quality of your work rather than the speed of your results. When you are impatient, you are prone to pivoting too early. You jump from one business idea to another or from one investment strategy to another, never allowing any of them the time required to compound. Patience is the holding power that allows your efforts to actually take root and grow into something substantial. Furthermore, patience is a signal to the world that you are a person of substance. Haste often looks like desperation, and desperation is a weak negotiating position. When you are patient, you are able to wait for the right deal, the right partner, and the right moment. You don't feel the need to jump at every opportunity that comes your way because you trust your process. This calm at the center of the storm is a hallmark of someone who is truly ready for money. You aren't easily rattled by market fluctuations or temporary setbacks because your perspective is anchored in the long term. You understand that true wealth is built quietly, in the dark, through thousands of small, correct decisions that eventually accumulate into a visible breakthrough. In the end, money respects patience because patience is a proxy for maturity. A child wants everything now. An adult understands that anything worth having is worth working for and waiting for. By the time the money actually arrives, the person who has been patient is no longer the same person who started the journey. They have been forged by the waiting. They have developed the discipline, the skills, and the character required to not only handle the wealth but to grow it and use it wisely. The money becomes a tool in the hands of a master rather than a toy in the hands of a child. Patience is the final proof that you are ready, because it shows that you no longer need the money to validate your worth. You have already become the person who is worthy of it. So remember this: wanting money is common. Being ready for it is rare. Money doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to discipline, value, and responsibility. If you shift your focus from wanting more to becoming more, money will eventually follow. And when it does, you'll be ready to keep it, grow it, and use it wisely. If this message resonated with you, stay focused, keep growing, and remember, preparation always comes before reward.